You've applied to jobs, you've built projects, you've even earned a certificate or two, but still nothing. Ghosted, stuck in the application black hole. I know the feeling because I lived the same thing. This was in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, so things were a little rough. Eventually, though, I was able to land a temp data entry job. This was my first tiny break that set me on this messy, stressful trial and error path that made me become eventually a data analyst. But here's the truth. I wouldn't have spent years grinding it out. I could have done it significantly faster, knowing what I know today. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through first how I broke into data analytics with no tech degree, the brutal, honest reality of what it felt like, and exactly how I do differently today using AI as a shortcut. My name is Jeff, and I started out my career in temp data entry, but was able to, over the last 13 years, become a data analyst, now become a business analyst consultant at a Fortune 5 company. I've sat on hiring panels, helped teammates get promoted, and even built AI-powered automations that have saved thousands of hours. Now I'm on a mission to help 10,000 people break into data analytics with AI as their edge. So if that's you, hit subscribe now because I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Let's go back a little bit. Back in 2008, I had about 35,000 in student loans, 2 degrees that did nothing, so it was a waste of my time. I applied everywhere, internships, admin jobs, even tried to become a video game tester and heard nothing. Finally, a friend's mom helped me land a temp data entry position that I mentioned earlier at a healthcare company. Not glamorous, but what I did was make the most of it. I showed up, I stayed late, and helped wherever I could. And that eventually turned into another temp role with the accounting team, and I got my first exposure to Excel. Not long after, I was hired as the assistant to the data analyst inside the risk adjustment department. And at first, I was just doing clerical admin work, faxing documents, organizing files, helping with paperwork. And around that time, the accountant from my old team was hosting Excel lunch trainings. So I jumped at the chance. I learned VLOOKUPs, more advanced use cases for formulas, and even stayed after to ask additional questions, and may or may not have emailed him to ask further questions when I was stuck. And putting my head down, training, becoming better at Excel, that's when all the hard effort and hard work paid off. I was eventually promoted to the benefits analyst role where I had more responsibility and more exposure to data. Later, I left for a marketing role, but luckily and eventually the previous data analyst left that I had worked under, and now I had a massive opportunity. And because I had put in all this work, built trust, and left on good terms, 5 high-level directors and upper management executive level all vouched for me to take over the position. Here's the catch. I was not ready, and I did not know I was not going to be ready. I thought I was perfectly skilled to take on the task, but I didn't know anything about databases. I didn't know about Access. I couldn't write SQL, but I said yes anyways. So what happened was I had to stay late. I had to reverse engineer all the tools. I bought books. I Googled like crazy, and I had to figure it out. And honestly, that was one of the most stressful periods of my life because it felt like I was drowning in data and I couldn't fully understand how all the systems worked. I was constantly second guessing myself. I had so much doubt whether the reports I was sending out were correct. And then when things broke, I didn't know how to fix them. So I had to figure it out. So there was plenty of nights where I had to stay late. I was just staring at error message, convinced that I was never going to figure this out and that I was completely over my head. But through sheer determination and just trial and error and just figuring it out and just trying a bunch of things, I made a lot of mistakes, but I slowly pieced it together. And every time that I fixed something, every time that a report ran successfully, my confidence grew. And it all started from a temp data entry role. One of the biggest lessons is that you don't need the perfect background. You just need grit, the willingness to say yes before you're ready, and the persistence to figure out. Also, you just need the opportunity to get into a company, especially if they have a data analyst role or data adjacent analyst roles. So to save you time and the heartache from me, I wish I had AI at that time. And if I did, here is what I would do if I was starting over inside that same position. And a lot of people watching this are inside a similar position where you're inside a role that touches data, but you're not exactly sure how to leverage it into analyst data analysis experience and data analyst like experience, which you can totally leverage into your resume and into your portfolio. For that company, it was a medium-sized company, but the COO, HR, and the director that I worked under had an open door policy, and they were open to listening to me with different solutions that I would have had because I put in a lot of work into there and I proved myself through all the various projects that I did. The easiest place that I would start is using AI as my personal tutor. Before then, I had to buy books from Barnes& Noble. I had to go to the library. I had to look at cheat sheets on like plastic, laminated things. I had to search on websites that sucked. And then there weren't as many tutorials on YouTube. This was one of those times where it's like, man, I wish I had better resources. If I had AI, it would be completely different. So what I would do was I'd experiment with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude to explain formulas, debug SQL, teach me how to build lightweight automations in Python, in Excel, in Access, into whatever tools that you have, and then understand how to connect all of it together. The biggest thing that you want to learn at this point is these are all tools, and it's great to have technical knowledge, but it only matters when you can deliver real value to the business. On top of this, one of the other things that I would add to the tech stack is I would also use Cursor, which is basically VS Code with AI built into the IDE. IDE is just where you're building and developing your code in, and then combining everything together where it's easy. And then it would literally walk me line by line through the code and show me how to create these tools from scratch. And then on top of this, I'd also focus on implementing AI inside of projects. This is not to show that I can just analyze the data, but to also prove that I can save time, cut costs, and improve productivity through AI. Everybody is starting to get on the bandwagon, at least at the corporate level. And a lot of small businesses are starting to realize that they need to get onto AI to improve their business processes. Otherwise, they're going to get left behind by the businesses who can figure out how to use AI to 10x their productivity or more. So this is a fear that upper management legitimately has, but they don't know where to start. And this pain point is where I would touch on and where I would figure out how to build real solutions for the business. From here, you need to understand the business. So you need to get the business knowledge and the domain knowledge, because this is what's going to separate you from the people who have the technical skills, from the people who have the business knowledge, to the people who know how to merge them together and actually deliver real results. So this is where you need to think at a higher level to see where you can combine your skills, because even outdated skills, as long as it saves money, generates more revenue, cuts costs, will be valuable in their eyes. They don't care how you get there. They care that you're delivering value to the business. And then if you can wrap it up or add some AI component to it, it's going to make them even happier. And when I went from becoming a data analyst into a Fortune 5 company where I became a business analyst, as a business analyst, I was significantly more technical than I was as a data analyst. I learned automation, I learned coding through VBA, and then complex dynamic SQL building through Access as the front end and then SQL as the back end. This was one of those things that set me apart from everybody else and was one of the reasons why I got promoted faster than a lot of my peers, is because I had a unique skill set aside from all the other analysts around me. So it might seem intimidating at first because when I started first learning about VBA and coding, it was again over my head. And I had to go on Stack Overflow, I had to Google, I had to read books, but eventually I figured out, and it was one of the best differentiators that I've ever learned. And a lot of the people that you're going to be competing against have the same skill set. They've done the same projects, they went to the same boot camps, they're doing the same tutorials online, but a lot of things that they're missing is they might not know how to develop, they might not know how to launch tools within Python, they might not know how to implement AI into those tools. So that is going to be your edge. Building the technical skill set is going to be half the battle. The next half is going to get buy-in from upper management and from your boss. So here is how I would do it strategically. If you do not have consistent one-on-ones with your boss currently, that cadence is what I would have on a regular basis, and I would start setting that up with my boss. I was also close with HR and the VP of operations, who eventually became the COO. From there, I would also schedule one-on-ones with them, and it would be a different conversation. But what I would do with upper management, because you don't want to go over your boss, is you would just ask career advice on where they think you could grow the most, and let them know, I'm learning AI and I know this is a massive innovative opportunity and I know I can deliver massive results and outcomes to the company, but I want to know where is the best place for me to apply myself, which projects you think would be the best gain inside that department. Now you're getting buy-in and they're also helping you. And when people help you, they tend to be more bought in to your journey. And through these conversations, I reverse engineer a plan, use AI and chatbots to help you figure that out, and what analytic skills I would need to sharpen, what I need to learn, and how to incorporate AI into the solution to make it even better. I'd be the person solving high level business problems with cutting edge tools, because this is at the forefront of their pain points currently, is how do I adapt with this new technology? And if you can provide them a solution, you provide a promotion path to getting to a data analyst. And if you can become that AI person inside your department, because not all departments are adopting AI at the same rate, then you'll be able to apply it in a way that'll give value and is measurable for your resumes and will look good for your achievements, so that you can transition into a better data analyst role later, or get promoted into a data analyst position within the same company. And this isn't just theory, because right now at my company, I've been transparent with my boss during our one-on-ones that I'm studying AI and preparing for the AWS AI practitioner exam. We've been talking about AI consistently through all of the major updates and how we think AI is progressing, and then also how upper management's been thinking about AI. So those conversations have spread, and now leadership knows that I'm upskilling and I'm on track to be able to help on major AI initiatives. And I'm going to be starting to talk to executive leadership soon on what I think is possible and potential solutions that could help our company. And if I were just starting my analyst career all over again, this is exactly the path that I take, because AI isn't just a skill, it's leverage currently, and it's a major differentiator. It's something that's going to make you stand out. If you watch this far, thank you. It tells me you're serious about landing a high paying data job, but maybe you feel stuck doing it alone. That's why I'm creating a new community called Get a Data Job Accelerator, and I'm looking for our first 20 founding members. The times when I've achieved the most in my life is when I've surrounded myself with people who are doing the same. It holds me accountable, but it also is extremely motivating. Plus, I'll be active in there. You'll get my direct feedback, plus feedback from everyone else in the community on your resume, projects, and anything else that you're stuck with. And this is all going to be completely for free. In exchange, all I ask is that you stay active and share your honest feedback with me, so you can make it better and build it into the best community out there. Click the link in the description below and fill out a short application. I'll be reviewing them personally and reaching out to the first 20 people who are the best fit. So hope to see you inside. Now you've seen how powerful AI can be to help you become a data analyst faster. Now, if you want a whole roadmap in what I would do if I was trying to become a data analyst today, here is a full video and a deep dive into that. Full roadmap, project ideas, including AI prompts. So watch that now. And until then, query responsibly and click on this next video.